Hi and welcome to DIY Ideas. So today I'm going to show you a really cool patchwork design. This time I'm presenting you two rectangular pieces that we put together into a patchwork style. So here's everything that we're going to need for today. So I have a ton of fabric in the background, and then fabric scissors, paper scissors this time, measuring tape, pins, hand gauge or a ruler, then fabric chalk or a fabric marker that you can wash out. And then we have here some squares that I'm going to use basically as my pattern for the background, and then some thread. So I have here some white, so that can match your fabric, or you can do a contrasting color. That's completely up to you. The fabric here is also completely up to you. Just make sure if it's stretchy that it has similar stretchiness with the two or multiple different pieces that you're working with. So you can use old jeans, you can use some old shirt fabric, pretty much anything that you'd like. So you see here different colors, different styles, and we're gonna make this work together. So you can use any leftovers that you already have at home. So if you're a beginner at this and you just like to get started with patchwork, in that case, I would recommend using some fabric that is not stretchy, just to make it easier for you, or if it is stretchy, that it's minimally stretchy and that all of the types of fabric that you're going to be working with have the same or very similar amount of stretchiness. In best case, none of them will stretch, so that way you don't have to worry about it as much. So that's just going to make it easier. Of course, if you have a little bit more experience with working with stretchy fabric, in that case, you should be just fine with this as well. So here is my square. You can use any size that you'd like here, and we're going to make our fabric work around the square basically. So each square is going to have both types of fabric basically split in half. And that's what our design for today is going to be. So first we need to cut everything out in the stripes that we're later going to put together. So I have here again my square as my reference, and you see here I have my blue fabric that's a little bit thicker, but it's going to work just nicely. And yeah, we can get started right away. So basically we're going to start with the square itself. So you can see that I aligned it to the two edges here, in my case the top and the right edge, and then what we're gonna do is basically cut it out. So first we're gonna pin it together with my pins here just to keep it in place so that it doesn't slip or do anything weird. And then later we're gonna split this basically in half. You can do it either way you'd like, and then we can get started with the patchwork. Of course, an additional alternative is to do it diagonally, but in that case I have a different video for that, how to do that part. So for now, we're just going to be working with the stripes because it's a little bit easier, but of course it's going to yield a different result depending on what kind of cutting you do at this point. So as I said, for now, just to make it easier for beginners as well, what we're going to do is do a line across. And then I'm also going to leave 2 centimeters on the bottom edge and the left edge, just so we have enough room for the stitches and all of our squares are still the same size. So yeah, you can of course do a little bit more or a little bit less depending on how much fabric you usually use when you do your stitches. But if you're a beginner, I would recommend doing 2 centimeters. It's definitely going to be enough that way. So I'm going to measure with my hand gauge. You can also use a ruler and my fabric marker that you can wash out when you put it in the washing machine. So now that we have everything marked and I connected these dots so that I have a straight line, we can basically cut it out, or we can transfer it to the other edges and then cut multiple squares out. So now that we have these 4 squares for now, of course you can do more if you want a bigger project. We can get started with marking the middle of each of the squares. So what we're going to do is basically measure the length and then mark the half of that. And I'm going to do 2 lines just so I can do a straight line across. So now that we have our rectangles or our squares split in half, we can get started with the patchwork itself. So I'm going to take 2 of one of each of my different types of fabric. I'm going to put them pretty side on pretty side, and then I'm going to do a stitch right on one of the sides. Either one works. So you can go as close to the edge as possible. That way you're going to have a neat result. Make sure you pin everything so it stays in place. And now that we put our squares back together, but half and half, you can see here that I just ironed over this section to keep it in place and to make sure that the fabric is kind of separated so it doesn't do anything weird when we put it all together later. So yeah, now what we want to do is put these squares together. So just make sure that they're aligned the way you'd like them to. You can of course do longer lines here or longer stripes, I guess. But yeah, this is what I have for now. So I'm basically gonna do a little square this time. And yeah, what we're gonna do is put, again, these 2 squares pretty side on pretty side. Make sure that your stitch that you just did aligns with both pieces. We're gonna pin again to keep it in place, and then we're gonna do the same. So go as close to the edge as possible with your new stitch, and that way we're gonna have this little top section. Then we're gonna do the same with the bottom one, and then we're gonna put those 2 together so we get our square in the end. And if you want to do a bigger project, why I'm showing you this is the style that you can also get that I think looks pretty cool with the zigzag. So yeah, in that case you would put it around this way, and then you would get the zigzag style like this. Of course, this is completely up to you the way you would like to do it, but this is how you would arrange them in that case. And yeah, then you can see that it matches the little printout that I have here. You can of course do something like this. You can pretty much put them around anywhere, any way you'd like to. So be creative there, just choose something that you're gonna like in the end. And as soon as you have the two squares basically put together, what we're gonna do is put these two or these four together. So we're again putting them pretty side on pretty side. We're aligning the stitch right here, and then we can turn around and basically do that stitch to connect all four of the squares. Again, make sure that the stitches align, pin everything in place, and as soon as you do that, you're ready for your stitch across. So a regular straight stitch as close to the edge as possible. So now that we ironed over all of the stitches that we've just done to make sure that the fabric is separated, you can see on the other side, the pretty side, how nice it looks, and on the back it's also neat. This way, since we've done this, there's nothing weird going on, no waving or anything, or any wrinkles on the pretty side, and that's why we're ironing all over. And I'm very satisfied with the way this looks. I think the stitches are really nice, really neat and straight, and you can hopefully see that as well right here. Yeah, so I'm super happy with the result. Of course, if I do more of these squares, it's gonna look even more awesome. And yeah, this is just some basic patchwork work. So I'm gonna show you again the little pattern that I have. So what you can do is leave it like this, or if I made a blanket, what I would do is do the corners as well. So in that case, you're gonna practice a little bit with working with triangles, but I'm gonna show you here on the other side, I have a different style. So I have 3 colors basically. Here we have 2, but on the pattern it says 3, so we can do that as well. So apart from these stripes, there are many different styles that you can do with patchwork, and if you do a quick Google search, you're gonna find a lot of different styles. There's a video where I did triangles as well and regular squares, so there's different levels of difficulty, so to speak, and you can choose whatever you like or would like to get started with. And yeah, this is all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to let me know what you think. You can also click on the thumbs up button and on the subscribe button if you'd like to follow our other videos as well. Make sure to not forget the notification bell in that case. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!